Back in 1977, NASA faced a tough question. If the world was ending, what 116 images would you save to represent Earth? They actually put those images on golden records and attached them to the Voyager spacecraft. These pictures are now traveling out into space, far beyond our solar system. It's kind of mind-blowing to think that these photos might be the only thing left of us one day. They could outlast Earth, outlast the sun, basically last for billions of years. That's kind of comforting, but also scary. It makes you think about what we choose to represent us and what those images say about our planet and our lives. Let's talk about the terrifying mysteries of the deep space. But before we continue, if you are fascinated by the incredible discoveries and spectacular wonders of the universe, be sure to subscribe to The Rocket to continue exploring the cosmos with us. Space madness. Space has always been a scary place. Early astronauts were worried about space madness, the idea that being in space could mess with your mind. This fear makes sense. Space is dangerous. Without a spacesuit, your blood will boil, your brain would explode, and you'd die within minutes. Even a safe trip involves spending a long time in a cramped spacecraft surrounded by darkness. While space madness isn't an official term anymore, astronauts have experienced anxiety, mood swings, and other problems in space. This idea of space driving people crazy has influenced how we portray space in stories. Laika. This is the tragic story of Laika, the first living creature to orbit Earth. Sadly, Laika was a dog sent on a one-way trip to space by the Soviets. They wanted to see how space would affect a living being. They thought she would die when she ran out of oxygen, but instead her spacecraft overheated. A biologist's last words to her were, "Please forgive us." My own trip through space didn't end when I ran out of oxygen either. My body slowly burned up in the sun, but unlike Laika, my journey continued in a different form. The whole experience was pretty unsettling. On board her spacecraft, Laika's heart rate went up 3 times faster than normal. She was terrified. I can't help but wonder if she felt betrayed too. Did she even understand what was happening to her? It's ironic that there's the picture of a dog on the golden record we sent into space, meant to show how loyal dogs are. Please forgive us, Laika. But should she forgive us? The Emptiness. In movies and games, we often see spaceships on a doomed path heading towards destruction. This is the case in Silent Running, High Life, and the interactive fiction game Under a Star Called Sun. In all three, the characters continue to care for plants on board their ships, even though they know they're doomed. In Silent Running, the plants are the last remnants of Earth's vegetation. In High Life, they're the only food source. In Under a Star Called Sun, the astronaut tends to the plants as a comforting ritual, even as memories of their past life intrude. These stories remind us of the importance of small moments and memories. Even in the face of destruction, the main character in High Life raises his child on the doomed ship, giving her the best life he can, no matter how short. The astronaut in A Star Called Sun regrets not taking more photos to preserve their memories. The idea of memories traveling through space is echoed in the real-life Voyager 1 spacecraft, which carries a golden record with images, sounds, and music from Earth. One song on the record, Puspawarna, is about flowers. A strange thought, since Voyager 1 is billions of miles away from the nearest flower. This makes us think about the vastness and emptiness of space. The planets are not lined up neatly like in a classroom model. They're tiny specks hurtling through the darkness at incredible speeds, and that darkness is silent because there's no air in space for sound to travel through. Even space battles would be eerily quiet, with no fiery explosions like in the movies. It's a reminder that our ideas about space are often shaped by fiction, and the reality is much more vast and mysterious. But even in this vast emptiness, there's something inspiring about the human urge to explore and create. We imagine what aliens might look like, and we tell stories about doomed spaceships and lonely whales. With so much of the ocean still uncovered, who knows what other mysteries are out there waiting to be found? Alien communication. Navigating the vast and silent ocean of space is a challenge, but we've been trying to make some noise with radio waves. We've sent signals trillions of kilometers away, reaching a tiny speck in space we call another pale blue dot. But most of these signals are just old TV shows and radio broadcasts that probably turn into meaningless static after traveling that far. In the game, The Anglerfish Project, you get to experience this firsthand. You play as an old man who catches and documents these stray signals from Earth. Most are gibberish, but sometimes you find a love letter or a piece of history. It's a lonely experience that makes you think about what kind of messages we're sending out into space. Besides being time capsules, the golden records attached to the Voyager probes are designed to be messages to aliens. They contain images, music, and even sounds of Earth, like chimpanzee screeches. If aliens find these records and understand them, they might trace them back to Earth. Dark Forest Hypotheses. Ever heard of the dark forest hypotheses? It's the idea that space seems empty because any civilization making too much noise gets wiped out by hostile aliens. It's a popular theme in sci-fi where humans accidentally attract unwanted attention. Sometimes these aliens come right to Earth, but the scarier stories are those set in deep space where the aliens represent the unknown. It's not just the aliens that are scary, it's the isolation. Speaking of isolation, let's talk about the game Alien Isolation. It's based on the Alien movies and puts you on an empty spaceship with a deadly alien. The game uses several tricks to scare you, like weapons that barely work, an alien that can crawl through vents, and a clunky tracker that forces you to look away from danger. But the scariest thing is the setting itself. A space station in a horror game is like a haunted house, but instead of cobwebs and creaky floors, it has dark corridors hiding monsters. The characters are trapped with no hope of rescue. Even space itself becomes part of the horror, a vast and empty place that's almost scarier than the alien itself. So, which is scarier? A space filled with hostile life or an empty space? Arthur C. Clarke, the author of 2001: A Space Odyssey, famously said, "Two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying." The space is hostile. We're pretty lucky to live on Earth. Think of it like we're the sheltered kids of the universe. The solar wind from our sun acts like a shield protecting us from dangerous radiation out in space. It's like we're on a safe little island in a huge, wild ocean. And Jupiter, it's like our big sibling watching out for us and using its gravity to pull in asteroids that could hit us. Plus, our Earth has a magnetic field that stretches way out into space, keeping us safe from deadly particles. Mars and Venus don't even have that. The other planets in our solar system are seriously rough. Jupiter's Great Red Spot, that little dot you see, is actually a storm bigger than our entire planet. If you went down there, it would be over 1,300 degrees Celsius. That's way hotter even than Venus, the hottest planet in our solar system. On the other hand, Uranus and Neptune are super far from the sun, so they're freezing cold. The temperature in their atmosphere can drop hundreds of degrees below freezing. So yeah, we're pretty lucky to be here on Earth. The hope for life in space is pointless. Our galaxy is huge, with billions of planets outside our solar system. We've only found about 5,000 so far, but with so many potential Earth-like planets out there, it seems like there must be other life forms. But maybe we're just being hopeful because, well, we exist. Until we understand how life started, it's hard to know just how lucky we are to be here. Since we've had it pretty easy on Earth, space hasn't always seemed scary. In the past, people thought space was just a flat background with lights, surrounding our planet at the center of everything. Even when we learned more about the size of the solar system, we still thought we'd find aliens right next door. Back in the late 1800s and early 1900s, the idea of life on Mars or the moon didn't sound crazy. When you only know Earth, space seems like it should be full of life. Even space travel was once seen as easy. In Jules Verne's book, From Earth to the Moon, the characters get there by shooting themselves out of a cannon. Yeah, that was the plan. The tragic space missions. It's hard to wrap our heads around the reality of space. It's a place where gravity is absent, causing your bones to weaken, and the lack of day and night can lead to sleeplessness. It's a silent, harsh environment where nothing can survive. One of the closest things we've seen to actual space madness happened during the 1976 Soviet Soyuz 21 mission. The crew was supposed to spend 60 days on the Salyut 5 space station, but a few weeks in, they reported a horrible smell that filled the cabin. It was so bad that the mission had to be aborted. However, when the backup crew arrived, they couldn't find any unusual smell or leak. It seems the smell was a hallucination, a nightmare caused by the cramped space and the overwhelming fear of the vast cosmos. Asteroid strike is unavoidable. Maybe staying on Earth is the better option, but even here, we're not entirely safe from space. Asteroids, those huge rocks from space, aren't just a Hollywood invention. They've hit Earth before, causing mass extinctions. And even with Jupiter acting as our protector, we have close calls all the time. Even if we avoid a catastrophic asteroid collision, we're still on a collision course with the Sun. It's a sobering thought, but it reminds us of the delicate balance of our existence and the vastness of the universe we call home. Billions of years from now, our sun will become a red giant and likely swallow the Earth. But even before that dramatic end, the sun, like all stars, will eventually die. Back in 1816, people were terrified the sun was dying. Huge sunspots appeared on its surface and temperatures dropped. It became known as the year without summer, with snow falling in the northern hemisphere. This inspired Lord Byron to write a poem called Darkness, about a world without the sun. Luckily, the sun didn't actually die in 1816. The cold weather was caused by the eruption of Mount Tambora, a volcano that spewed gas all over the planet. The gas eventually disappeared, but it reminds us of how delicate our atmosphere is. A small change could turn Earth into a lifeless rock. The scariest thing about the universe might be that everything is temporary. Even our galaxy won't last forever. In about 4.5 billion years, it will collide with the Andromeda galaxy, and stars will be flung out into space. Is Golden Record, our lives, and everything meaningless? It's easy to wonder, what's the point if nothing lasts and everything is eventually destroyed? Why bother trying to keep anything around? What meaning could a picture, a memory, or even a life have in the grand scheme of things? Maybe what makes something valuable isn't how long it lasts. Sure, every plant dies, every radio signal fades, and every marshmallow gets eaten. Even on a cosmic scale, the Golden Record probably won't survive forever, but does that matter? On a personal level, the things we've lost still matter. Memories still linger, and the night sky can still amaze us, even though we know that one day it will all fade away. So even though it's true that everything changes and nothing stays the same, we can still find joy in taking care of things, making memories, and appreciating the beauty around us. It may not last forever, but it's still worthwhile. So that was the video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the rocket, and smash that bell icon so you never miss an update. See you in the next one. Till then, keep exploring.